welcome to the second Dean Park Podcast. I'm Beth, your Deputy Head Girl.
And I'm Freya, your Ravelrig House Captain. And today we are going to be having a conversation with Mrs. Kiggins, our business manager, about COVID-19.
Okay, Mrs. Kiggins, we have a few questions we would like to ask you. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay, question 1. What is your role and can you tell us about how your job has changed since the COVID-19?
As business manager, I am responsible for the support services element of the school. This is broken down into 3 main areas. Finance, making sure we have all the resources we need to support teaching and learning. The staff, making sure we have all the right people in place to support the teaching and learning, such as teachers, PSAs, nursery staff and office staff, and managing the administrative element of this. And lastly, the school's buildings, both inside and outside. This includes the building work programme, playgrounds, telecoms, IT, school resources, and of course the big biggie just now, health and safety. My job is still the same, but since June the focus for BMs has primarily been on infection control, making sure we follow the guidance received from the Scottish Government, the NHS and the City of Edinburgh Council, and how to reduce the spread of coronavirus and keep everyone safe. With guidance changing very regularly, the challenge is keeping on top of it all.
So your job must be pretty hard then.
It's very busy and no 2 days are the same, but it is fun.
Okay. This is a very important question. Why is hygiene so important in school?
School hygiene is especially important because children spend a lot of time at school and they need a healthy and safe environment to learn and grow physically, mentally and socially. However, school life can be easily disrupted by the spread of viruses such as the cold and flu, norovirus and now coronavirus, as children and staff can become ill and need to be absent from school, and this has an impact on the teaching and learning. By practising proper hygiene, we can reduce the spread of germs, reduce absence, and help protect everyone in our school.
So now you know why hygiene is so important. Okay, so your next question is it okay for people to wear a face covering in school? Because a lot of people have been wearing face coverings.
Yes, sometimes we don't know if we're carrying a virus, as we might not show symptoms, and by wearing a mask, we are helping to protect others. You will see staff in school sometimes wearing a mask or a visor. They will do this if it's not possible to maintain a safe distance from other members of staff or pupils. In primary schools, children do not need to wear face covering. However, it is a choice should they wish to do so.
Okay, that was a very good answer. So this one has been asked by a lot of people. Are restrictions in school likely to change anytime soon?
If you're coming from the angle, will restrictions ease in school anytime soon? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Infection rates are on the increase in Scotland, and therefore we envisage the restrictions currently in place in schools remaining for some time. I'm afraid this is the new normal. However, let's try and be positive and hope for an ease of restrictions in spring next year. In terms of will there be more restrictions, in light of the First Minister's briefing yesterday, there were no indications that this would be the case. It might be, however, that staff will have to wear masks whenever they move around the school, and we're waiting for further advice from the City of Edinburgh Council on this.
Hopefully some things will change soon then.
Hopefully, for the better.
Okay, Mrs. Kiggins, can you give us 3 top tips for staying safe in school?
Wash or sanitize your hands each and every time you enter or leave the school building or classroom or go to the toilet. Dispose of tissues immediately in a bin. And for adults, to keep a safe distance from other adults at all times.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kiggins, for your time to let us have a conversation with you for the Dean Park Podcast.
You're very welcome.
We hope you have learned a bit about the COVID-19 and the differences to the school and if anything will be changing soon. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, I'm Emma Kirby, your Pilmere House Captain, and joining me is...
Hi, I'm Lucy and I'm a Ravelrig House Captain.
Hi, I'm Eleanor and I'm a Harlaw Vice Captain. Today we are being joined by Miss Binney. Now, Miss Binney, thank you so much for being here and doing this interview.
Thank you so much for having me, girls. Mrs. Kiggins and I are both delighted to help you with this episode of your podcast.
Okay, now, for question 1. What is your role, and can you tell us about how your job has changed since COVID-19?
Okay, good question to start us off. My role is acting deputy head teacher here at Dean Park, and that means that my job involves helping Mrs. Wright, our head teacher, to look after all the children in our school. I think probably the main thing that's changed for me since COVID is that Mrs. Wright, Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Smith and I have been getting loads of information about rules and things which are changing all the time because of COVID, and it's important that we keep up to date with that so that we're following all the right rules in school. We get lots of updates daily and weekly from the government and from the council, and it's our job to make sure that we keep up to date with all of these and follow the instructions. So in short, one of the main things that's changed just recently is that I've been doing loads more reading of important documents which keep us all safe. But there are lots of things which I still do that I did before COVID. They just look a wee bit different now. So for example, parents meetings. Previously we would have invited parents into school, and we look forward to being able to do that again at some point. But until then, we do things like meetings virtually. It's more difficult to visit classes now, so again we can do that virtually, which is really nice. But the main thing is I do still get to work with the children, which is what I enjoy the most. So yeah, lots of things done virtually, but some things that haven't changed too much since COVID.
That seems like quite a bit has changed. Now, what is the main difference at school now with COVID-19 restrictions?
I think probably from talking to lots of children, I think probably the main difference for them, and I don't know if you would agree, girls, is that it's because there's no mixing of bubbles. You are with your whole class all day, so even at playtime and at lunchtime, you're not able to at the moment play with any of the boys and girls from, for example, the other class, because of the rules related to staying in your own bubble. So yes, I think probably from the children's point of view, the biggest difference is that you are with the same people all day, every day, for just now.
Yes, I agree. What did you have to do before we came back to school, and what do you have to do now?
Okay, so before you all came back to school, we were very busy getting organised and making sure that school was a safe place for you all to return to. For a while in the summer holidays, we weren't really sure how the return to school would look. So we thought that maybe people would be coming in different groups, or maybe only for certain times in the week, but we were really delighted when we heard that everybody was going to come back at once. So even though we knew that that was going to happen, we knew that there were things that we had to put in place to make sure things were ready for you all. And some of these things were, we needed to train staff on the new guidance which was in place in school. We needed to make sure we had lots of supplies of things like sanitizer, masks, gloves. We needed to get the school ready, which we always do in the summer anyway, but there were extra things we had to do because of COVID. So things like signs, we needed to organise classrooms in a certain way, and lots more. And a big one was organising how playtime would all work. So that involves a lot of working out which staff will be there, where you'll play, lots of things like that. And I guess now all we need to do, I say all we need to do, it's actually quite a big job, is to just keep all these things up and make sure we don't get complacent, and just make sure things like routines like hand washing and stuff are all still in place and working well.
Wow, a lot of stuff you had to do. Now, the final question. What are your 3 top tips for staying safe at school?
Okay, I'll keep this really brief. Wash your hands or sanitize. Tell an adult if you feel unwell. And respect social distancing.
They're good tips. Now, thank you for being here with us, Miss Spinney, at this interview.
Thank you, girls. It's been a joy to be here. You're doing a fantastic job on your podcast.
Hope you all enjoyed the second episode of the DPS podcast.
Bye!